Alright guys, so we are at a secret, undisclosed track here, otherwise known as the Beske Ranch, doing our, well I guess I should say another winter practice here. As you can see, I've decided to let Zach get ahead of me for a while. Then I'll catch up to him later. Trying to build his confidence, so I don't want to pass him right away on this practice track. You know, I want to build his confidence up before I pass him later. So, you know, I just decided to let him get out ahead of me and ride for a little bit. It is stinking cold on this day, and like latex gloves under your riding gloves, and your fingers are still frostbitten cold. At least for me it was. When you're old, your fingers get cold. So we're running the track forward. So I'll do a couple of laps forward and then a couple of laps backward, and then we'll have Zach do a couple of laps forward and a couple of laps backward. And you know, he's just a little bit faster than me on the track, not much. So this is a pretty fun little course we got set up. Some elevation, which is good. At our house, on our property, we really don't have almost any elevation change. So over here in this woods here, there's quite a bit of elevation. You get back in the woods, further back in there, over my right shoulder there, and a lot of good hills and things. I did a video, or we did a video a while ago. Actually, the Pro Tune video that I did was on this property. So we get to ride over here fairly often. Ride with Austin a little bit and just doing some practice. So this first couple of laps here, the ground was really frozen. I mean, like every dirt clod was frozen like a brick. And this turn right here that you see me slide out on the first time, that turn is like just basically like ice. So here I'm running the track backwards now. Definitely a little bit different, but that's good. So that's what we generally do, is we'll set up a course in our woods or in somebody else's woods, and we will run it forward. And then next time we ride, it depends on whether we're doing a 2-hour practice or whether we're doing kind of like sprints like what this is. What we did this day is you can see a couple of guys, that's Austin, my brother David, timing us. So what we did is we rode for 20 minutes forward, and then, you know, the other crew took a turn, and then we did 20 minutes backwards, and the other crew did a turn. We did that, you know, several times, versus running like a 2-hour practice, which we do also. But I think there's some benefits to both of them. You know, if you do a 20-minute practice, you can push harder during that 20 minutes, you know, and then you take a break. So I guess it's more like an interval ride training versus, you know, riding for 2 hours, where when you know you're going to ride for 2 hours, then you're going to run your 2-hour pace versus a sprint pace, you know. So we do a little bit of both. You'll see that this turn right here is kind of tough, unless Zach is riding on it, and then it looks easy. And this little drop right here, I lost my right foot in the dirt several times. I almost kind of feel like that maybe I'm running my suspension just a little bit too soft, or maybe just a little bit too low. So maybe I'm gonna try to add a little bit more preload so my bike rides a little bit higher, because I had a few issues with my feet getting into the dirt, you know, and pulling my foot off a foot peg or something like that. So both of our suspensions are at Corey's right now at Pro Tune getting worked on, so when we get them back, we'll probably do another video. So now Zach's going to take off, and this is his first lap, again forward, and so the track again is frozen right now, but this will be his first lap. 350 really runs good, really pulls good. I think I mentioned this in the last video, but I rode his bike on this course, and I think within about 2 laps, I think I was faster on his bike than what I am on my bike. So it's got me considering making some changes. I don't know. I bought my bike brand new, and I really like my bike, but the smoothness of the power on the 350 is just really interesting. It really runs good. So this will be a different lap. This will be a little bit later on. We'll let Zach run several laps here. Kind of study what he's doing here. You can tell he can really get on the power, and I think this is the big difference between the 2-stroke and the 4-stroke. You know, when you're in the mid-range on the 2-stroke, then you roll on the throttle in a turn. You know, you hit the power band, and in the back end it gets squirrely. That's just, I mean, you really, unless you're dragging the clutch, which I generally always have a finger on the clutch, but unless you're pretty much dragging it, you're pretty much always going to get that, you know, the hit of the power band and then the tire spin. You know, so it's kind of hard to pull out of turns really smooth and things like that. To where if you watch Zach here, I mean, yeah, he's got a finger on the clutch too, but it's different. The way that the power comes on, it's not a really abrupt hit. It's just a really smooth, really hard pull. So he can get into the turns and just roll out of the turns. And that's what I noticed about his bike versus mine. So obviously there's things that the 2-stroke is better for. You know, really technical riding, I think the 2-stroke is better for it. Of course, you see that in extreme enduro. But man, for this kind of stuff, you know, for the kind of stuff that we do a lot right now, the 350, man, it really pulls good. You know, I decided here to let Zach buy again. You know, there again, just didn't want to hurt his ego. You know, with him turning pro this year, I just thought I'd let him buy. I'll catch up to him later. So still running forward on this track. I think the ground had thawed out a little bit at this point, so it wasn't quite as hard to. You get off the line. If you got off the line earlier when it was really cold, it was like running on baseballs. But to where it's a little tacked up now and a little bit better now, and you can tell the way he's pulling in and out of these turns. Kind of cutting through the turns like a surgeon is what he's doing. This turn here was just insane slick. Like that little bump right there, that little rut, I couldn't really drop down into that rut because as soft as my suspension is, if I would drop down into it, there again, my foot pegs would pretty much drag, and you can see Zach is just laying over in that rut on the power and pulling through it basically while he's turning. So there again, makes me want to increase my preload just a little bit and see if it improves some of those things. I think my valving is good. I think I just might need a little bit more preload so the bike rides a little bit higher in the suspension range. So Zach's got a pretty good pace going here now. Pretty much just kind of like dissecting the track now. There again, that rut is a little G out, and it doesn't even look like it doesn't even throw his bike around or anything. He just basically just cuts right through it like it's not even there. That was me stopped holding my hands on the on my pipe, trying to get my hands to warm up because I couldn't ride anymore. So this is Zach now. He's going the opposite direction on the track. And this particular track, it's completely different running at the opposite direction. rut right here is, he makes these ruts look easy. If that's anything I need to work on more than anything, it's my ability to ride in long ruts. You know, I think part of that is staying on the balls of your feet, where you can kind of work the bike around it and let it do what it's doing. Looking out far enough ahead of you, which I know I struggle with, but I think it's kind of my own fault because I like riding really technical stuff so much, creeks and all that kind of stuff, that, you know, you can't quite look out ahead as far on really technical stuff. So then when you get on this faster stuff, you know, you're used to not looking out as far as you need to. So I've kind of created my own problems. It's just dealing with that. And then these long right hand ruts, I've had 4 surgeries on my right knee, so if it's a right hand rut, I kind of struggle with committing to it. That's just all there is to it. But 4 surgeries later, you can probably do the same thing. So I hope you enjoy the video, and we'll try and get a few more out here. Later on, we'll finish up this lap, then we'll be done.